Transport Fever 2 is coming this fall, and this is what we know so far. We will have upgraded graphics, much more beautiful, more detailed. We'll have new city structures. We'll have improved citizen behavior, as it seems, which means increased traffic, and all looks absolutely amazing. We'll jump more into depth on this, but first let's make sure that everyone has seen the trailer. If you haven't, here it comes. Holy potato, look at those graphics. Now this isn't going to be a full-fledged trailer breakdown and what all the tidbits are, but there's a couple of points in the trailer that's still worthy of mention, still worth talking about. Let's freeze the frames there for a couple of seconds. Now you might have noticed my somewhat subtle at the beginning there at the graphics, because the graphics look so amazing, and I hope they've optimized the game accordingly so that we don't have a laggy experience playing the game when it finally releases. Now, before we move on to the trains, which I would imagine fair few people are looking forward to, let's talk about some of the more subtle things with the airplanes that we noticed in this video. First and foremost, we have the freight planes. They're now a part of the game from the very get-go, and we can see that both with the, I think it's an Antonov freight plane, which you can see on screen right now, and then we also have on the airport, it looks like the planes are actually queuing like they would in real life, taxiing towards the runway, waiting for, you know, the green light, all clear, take off. And that, I think, is a brilliant addition. It adds to the realism and it makes it feel more complete in a sense, which isn't to say that Transport Fever 1 wasn't complete. It was an absolutely great game. It still is. But, you know, you can always make it a little bit better as you move along and learn from your experience with the last one. Now, we also saw a very intricate highway exit, which to me indicates that the road tool has gotten an upgrade, which is kind of nice, kind of well needed. But as well as that, it would also indicate to me that transportation by road will function in a different way in Transport Fever 2 than it did in Transport Fever 1, as in Transport Fever 1, the need for a highway with an exit was, at least as far as I played the game, never really a need you had, other than for it to look good. And also, show me someone who did something like this in Transport Fever 1, and I will honestly link it below. If that is the case, I will eat my notes for this video. True story. I'll put the link to that as well down below. Now, what further proves this point, at least to me, is the change in the cities, how they're built, which to me indicates that there's a improved city generation tool sort of thing built into the game, but also the way the people living in that city is moving around. Before, we had like these bunches of people running around to the train station as they exited the bus and that kind of jazz. Right now we have great traffic. They're also confirmed that there's going to be traffic and emissions overlay options. That's on the Steam page, if I remember correctly. And like with these kinds of dynamics, having highway exits and having improved cities would, at least to me, indicate that there's an improved citizen behavior, which honestly is kind of like something I wanted for the game, where people want to go from point A to point B, cargo dist and open TTT for those who play that game. Brilliant addition. Love it. Now let's talk about something that's more of a speculation on my part than anything else. And for that we'll need the audio as well for the trailers. So we'll run the part in question once again. I'm thinking Leisure or Leisure, however you pronounce it, is coming as I would imagine as a sort of factory kind of deal, like working the same way as cargo does today, where you ship passengers from a city to a, let's call it, leisure spot, and then obviously also transporting them back again, and that's gonna work the same way as cargo does. This is pure speculation, no info whatsoever, just me guessing basically. But the audio in the trailer, the beautiful shot of the boat there at the beach, really makes me think it's going to be Leisure as a sort of service cargo deal in the game. We'll have to wait and see for sure, but it's just my speculations. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think Leisure will be part of the game? Now, before we get to at least the most important transportation device for me when I play Transport Fever, we'll be doing a quick little ad, I suppose. If you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to let me know by hitting the like button. If you do that, I will be doing more of these where we go into more depth as to the differences between Transport Fever 1 and what we know of Transport Fever 2. We'll be doing, more sort of, this is what we really know about one item of topic, and then, so on and so forth. But let's talk trains here for a minute. First and foremost, holy potato, what an overlay for the lines there. That's beautiful. The trains look even more detailed, even better graphics, which is amazing to see that they've put so much love into the trains as they are. They were good in Transport Fever 1. Now it looks like they're getting great, which is awesome. In Transport Fever 1, we relied heavily on mods to make the train stations do as we pleased. And we might still do that in Transport Fever 2, but they have confirmed on the Steam page that the train stations will be modular, along with modular bus stops, truck stops, airports, and harbors. And it depends a bit on what they mean by modular, of course. Will it be the same kind of modular as it was in Transport Fever 1? Or will it be more modular towards the end of, can you bend the stations? Can you add more, what do you call them, road connections? Can you have pass-through tracks on the train stations themselves? Who knows? Time will tell, but at least they've added it in as its own little bullet point, and it's quite high up in the list that they have on Steam as well on game features, so one could always hope that it will remain a good addition and an upgrade to the system we already have. A couple of important points though. In Transport Fever 1, we had 120 different vehicles at launch. And in Transport Fever 2, we'll have 200. That's an addition of 80, which is quite significant. But what's important to remember here is that they'll have in Transport Fever 1, they added 10 planes, as that was a new feature. Planes was new. We had 10 planes. In Transport Fever 2, freight planes are new. Maybe we'll have at least somewhat of a close resemblance to the same number of new airplanes to the freight line, and maybe a couple extra to the regular lines as well. We'll probably have a few more additions to all the lines. But we also get the Asian campaign, I think it was. Asian vehicles, which means that they'll probably be adding some more trains, some more buses, some more trams or streetcars, some more airplanes and ships, all the good jazz from Asia as well, which means that we'll probably see an increased amount of awesome looking trains, because there's a fair few awesome train sets not from Europe or the States, but it's actually from Asia. Will be very interesting to see. Now, I'm not going to keep you any longer today, so if you enjoyed this one, fling a massive like at it. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, or questions, maybe you have some inputs to some of the questions we asked, be sure to leave that down below in the comment section. If you want to stay up to date with news about Transport Fever 2, some gameplay on that game when it finally comes out, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. Stay up to date with all things average. And as we end these things, I've been Average. You've been absolutely awesome, and I'd love to see you in Transport Fever 2 when it finally releases, fourth quarter of 2019. See you there. Cheerio. Now here's a little thank you so much for staying to the end. In Transport Fever 2, we'll have a map editor in-game, which is at least something I've been missing in Transport Fever 1. Thank you.